favoring Jinx. I think the ease of execution is there. You often get that pushing lane. So BLG is going to ban it away. They're going to first pick the Aphelios, and now we have to see what will the response be. Rakan is banned away, so it's not going to necessarily be Xayah Rakan. It could definitely be Zeri Lulu. We see Varus sometimes coming out as an answer there as well, so there are a couple, but it should be Zeri Lulu. And Ruler was so disgusting on this champion. In the LPL, and really, it's just not fair when you're watching this guy play with that much mobility.
I mean, an 82% win rate and 9.1 KDA on average over 11 games.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at this champion, you know? He's definitely somebody who can pop off, but it is going to be the Nautilus that's let through as a result as well, and now that'll be potentially going to the hands of Yagao. And I think, again, if you got this Aphelios, we've already seen it just take a bunch of beefy guys and stick them in front of him.
Yeah, I'm just so not a fan of the Nidalee. You know, the Nidalee is, I just think, so problematic. If they're going to go towards Nidalee, I honestly want to see you full send. I know everyone hates Renekton Nidalee, but like I would way rather see you pick Renekton Nidalee and just like all in the game on the early game than just kind of like throw Nidalee into a comp where it's not going to do that much. At least Nautilus is some setup, but again, if your only setup is an AP pairing, and especially if you're just putting it solo lane, you just rush Mercs and then you kind of don't care. Especially if Knight is just going to play Ksante mid. It's like, are you really going to gank the Ksante mid with Merc Treads as this Nidalee Nautilus? It's just not going to do anything. You can just W the spear and then you're chilling. So I'm really not sold on Nidalee. I feel like it's looked so bad every time it's come out.
Well, in respect to the Nautilus mid lane flexes, the Blitzcrank is going to get banned here. Maokai now going to fall, limiting some of the counter engage option. Kanavi obviously controlling the team fight so well on that pick. Simple champion to execute in a lot of those team fight scenarios. But I'm with you. I am still waiting to see the version of Nidalee that teams are clearly seeing in scrims show up on stage. I don't think it has happened yet. Maybe Shun could do it this time. It is do or die, and he opted for this pick. So clearly there's something there. We just really need to see it in this game.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I do believe in Nidalee in 1v1s, 2v2s, and even 3v3s. When it gets bigger than that, I really stop believing because I think the angles become very, very difficult to find. And teams are way more careful on stage than they are in scrims when it comes to picking these fights, right? Teams are going to be more willing on stage to say, nope, you know what, we're just going to give that up. We'll give that camp, we'll give that 10 CS, and we'll wait for our win conditions in the 5v5 later on. So going to be interested to see if Shun can kind of prove me wrong and as you say, show us what these teams are seeing.
Yeah, and I'm curious as well what the plan is going to be here for JDG as we start to go through. A lot of the Maokai band away, the Gragas band away, I still think you can go towards things like the Wukong if you want to here for Kanavi, even if you really want to, something like a Sejuani as well. I know it kind of sucks against the Nidalee in the early stages, but again, I think if you just have a little bit of a beefy front line, the Nidalee just becomes so useless later.
And you can even just go like, when you're playing Sejuani, you can even just go Bomby into Warmogs. And then you have Warmogs as your first item, and then you just tank every single spear, and you literally do not care at all. The team fighting becomes so impossible for Nidalee. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Warmogs rush, in this game. I think it makes a lot of sense.
And good call out from both of you there. We'll see if the itemization comes true, but the pick definitely coming through now. Have to track the early game. Shun in the previous game was able to get a massive jungle lead. It just did not amount to anything. That was against the Kha'Zix. See if it's any different this time against the Sejuani. Now, the Jax, it's do or die. Signature pick definitely feels like the right time. The question, of course, is going to be what is 369 going to respond with? Or what is Knight going to respond with in the mid lane instead?
It does feel like Knight is probably going to be the one piloting the Ksante in the mid lane, and now you just get the counter pick coming through for the Jax. But I am curious to see exactly what that is going to be, because a lot of the picks that 369 has kind of wanted to go to are the more beefy kind of frontliners, and I think a lot of that is gone. Maybe he just matches it with a Gnar or something, but it doesn't really fit quite with the Sejuani in the way you'd want to.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely go Gnar. Honestly, I wouldn't mind Malphite here. I think Malphite is pretty solid. You can look towards just flexing the Ksante top if they want to play that matchup, though. This will be the signature pick here for Knight. His Syndra is out of this world good. This is the champion that really made me stand up and take notice of Knight first when he was coming into the LPL. He is so good at it. It is just not fair. The scatters this guy lands, the way that he's actually able to use vision and play fights over walls to find scatters, through walls and get that range extension on the orbs is really unmatched by anyone I've seen in pro play.
Yeah, I mean, Yagao would be very familiar with it, but it was actually Knight using it against JDG in summer 2020 that won them that finals in Game 5. So definitely a throwback here. We'll have to see now what Knight can do. Not exactly the easiest of matchups, I will say, against the Nautilus. You are definitely a sitting duck there, so maybe this actually gives a little bit of a window of opportunity for Yagao and Shun to try and play through that mid-jungle, take down Knight, and maybe lean into a bit more. But when you get to the later portion of the game, it does feel like there's a huge amount of protection here for Ruler with Knight now offering that scatter to the look.
Absolutely, but as you say, at the very least, they have some clear points of attack now, right? It's not like Ksante mid, who's just going to be kind of immune to that damage anyway. You can go right at Knight here on the Syndra, and it's going to be up to him to really have great timings on the scatters to actually knock back Nidalee out of her pounce. Things
It's about, and certainly every lane is an option in terms of the CC setup. Have to see where Shun wants to go, what the focus is going to be. JDG clearly have a strategy prepared here as they move in 5 members strong on the top side of the map.
See if they can catch out Bin. I'd be surprised if Bin actually tries to move in here. We'll spot 369, so at least try to bait him in a little bit, but I don't think they're aware exactly what's going on right now.
Good. Oh, yeah. Spotted. Sniffed that one out.
And you'll see now Yagao will go in towards bot side. They know that there's people recalling top, so he's going to go and get some vision down on this bot side of the jungle, knowing that everyone was up there on top. It's always worth attempting these level 1s. Do they often work out? Not really, but like it's so low risk and the reward can be massive. You know, if you can get a flash or even a kill, can be game changing.
Well, especially that version that's so defensive that doesn't require you to put yourself at any risk. But now BLG, I like this response, responding with a level 1 of their own. This is one that does pose a certain amount of risk, but recognizing the vision advantage they have, knowing that there's nothing here on the bottom side for JDG, and we could very well end up in a split map.
Yeah, but this isn't spotted. I mean, JDG moved out of the area before they really knew that BLG were there. Even the sweeper didn't spot any wards, so they don't realize that BLG are actually here. So this could be a bit of a big win for Shun if he's able to play this out correct.
I want to see how the bot lane approaches. Do they actually walk down and then back up? I think they were spotted, so then now that you know. Now you know 100%. Because of the way that they actually walked. Missing saw on an elk coming in, and they saw them coming from up the river. Only reason you would be doing that is because you started on enemy blue. So Kanavi should have that information, and we'll see what he can actually make of it.
What does he want to do with that? Is he going to try to force the split map for now? It is just camp stolen away on the side of BLG.
I don't think he can, because look at top lane right now. Like top lane is pushing, you know, in. If you don't have the push, it's really tough to actually go for that invade. But this is getting rough. Shun is taking all 3 camps spot side. He could then even cross map and defend his top side if he wanted. And Kanavi would be pretty much stuck in a position where he's just going to be down 3 full camps.
Yeah, I wonder if he can try and help out Knight. I think you need to try and burn something here as Yagao and Shun, so Knight can't really help out, and that's exactly what they're going to try and do.
Knight in a tricky position here. Spear going to go a bit wide, however, so he should be fine for now. Getting some information on the Nidalee. Kanavi going to walk down, spotted on vision, is going to realize now that there are no camps left. Nidalee had full committed for all 3, is missing and just trading back and forth on here on the bottom side.
And Kanavi's going to have to try to go into the enemy jungle, see if he can find anything here. Knight will be moving with him because he has gotten the push. So Shun will be pushed back, but I'm not sure that you can fully commit.
Connecting is big right on the Lulu. Like Knight already taking down immediately. Ruler just going to step forward, trying to isolate Elk, trying to keep his support alive. First blood coming in for On. They want to keep this one going. The snare, not going to be there for Elk quite yet. They're now backing off. Happy to have the first kill. Shun here on the bottom side. The fight stopping for now, but a clean first blood from the side of BLG.
Yeah, that's huge for BLG. Really well played down on that bottom side. They get the first blood. Unfortunately, it did go onto the Thresh. You know, Ruler was getting aggressive on Elk, trying to push him back, but not quite able to do it.
Time coming in on the top side. Been a positive trade, running out of mana, but
yeah,
ahead in health.
Has a biscuit though, so he just wants to reset the wave and he just wants the base. He wants to get out of there and should be able to do it.
These are big wins across the board though for BLG. You're controlling your top side. You now have the advantage in bot lane as well. Kanavi's set behind. So when you talk about trying to play through an early game with this Nidalee and the Nautilus, this is exactly where you want to be, but maybe not if Bin ends up running into everyone.
Trying to get a few more stacks down. They're now pushing it in. Bin going to get stunned up, but the Nidalee is there as well. They're desperate to try to finish off Bin, but Bin has already walked away. Now pulling back. A clean stun onto 2 from Knight. But who can actually finish a kill? That's Yagao taken out. JDG firing back on the top side jungle.
A massive mistake for Bin. He goes down to face check to see if this Scuttle Crab had been taken and ends up running into the entirety of JDG. Didn't have the mana to really get away. He doesn't burn his flash, and JDG just managed to get a comeback like that.
Yeah, that was kind of bizarre. I mean, he was completely I'm not really sure why they felt that they could actually fight that. You know, Ksante's always going to collapse on you if you come from there. Kanavi's below you, and he just kind of takes that fight with Kanavi, gets stunned up, and sure, he gets out, but a lot of flashes forced, and they lose the scuttle, they lose a life there. And again, Nidalee is struggling to kind of have that impact in this fight.
I like the zoom in start. You take a look back at the exchange here. Ben definitely is going to start to feel caught out in a moment. But the big thing here, too, is Shun is ahead in the jungle, but he hasn't bought any items, so it just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, Bin's out of the equation immediately, right? And you're actually not using a huge amount from JDG onto Bin. It was just the E from Kanavi, which is going to be back up the second. You end up having a couple of auto attacks come through from 369 and the Sejuani. So with the follow-up from Nice, it was always going to be a win for JDG. So I don't know what BLG or Bin were really going for.
Definitely in a tricky position now. The gold very close, but it felt like with the early jungle start, BLG were set up to take control. A lot of that control now given away after the play on the top side. A first kill over to Knight, and while Knight doesn't initially have a lot of kill pressure here on the Yagao because of the Nautilus, it's really easy for him to stack those splinters to get closer and closer to that Transcendence, to all that extra AP, which again might not result in killing the Nautilus, but the Nidalee is going to be very vulnerable.
But it's also things like a quicker lost chapter now means he gets to push the wave a lot more, right? Keep Yagao under check. He can then start to roam and work with Kanavi. So suddenly the opportunities that shouldn't have gained for himself to actually start to roam across and play towards these side lane, or towards potential invades, is completely gone as well. So it's a lot of missed opportunities now from BLG just off of that one mistake.
And that's kind of the tough thing when you are playing these really powerful early game champs that are so execution based. There's not a lot of room to breathe. There's not a lot of room to make mistakes.
Stepping forward, the play ready to go, but Kanavi is here on the bottom side. Missing has been isolated, but instantly the Sejuani right into their faces. They don't have the damage to burn through the passive. Starts to fall away. Maybe they can turn back, but no more setup here. Good read from Kanavi to respond to the bottom side gank.
Good play coming through from on as well. Just barely keeps the Sejuani away from getting another auto attack on himself for the stun. Also keeps Shun safe, but now Yagao starting to move down as well, trying to contest the vision.
X flash into the hook. They did get the flash from Kanavi in that exchange. Looks like they want to keep the pressure up here. Elk starting to crash the wave in. A lot of members waiting, using the blast cone, trying to hide as much as they can before they go for the play, but they decide not to risk it, not to take any risks here at all.
Yeah, I think they're actually hoping to threaten Knight by drawing him down. Basically threaten the dive, say, hey, we're going to dive. You got to roam. You got to roam. And then if he runs down through the jungle, he would actually be the one to get picked off. Because I don't think there's any way you can actually pull off that 4v3 dive with Kanavi, Ruler, and Missing all pretty much full health and the heal still available. So I think it was more of attempting to bait Knight into a bad position, attempting to punish him, seeing if they can get anyone into a bad spot. Bim will take that top side scuttle, and does have the early sheen, so we'll see what he can get done here. But really, again, this is kind of so reminiscent of what we saw in the LPL playoffs, where it is 369, whose job is just to mitigate, and whose job is to really show up for team fights. And it's been with so much pressure on him to really get things done. And in this case, a lot of pressure on Shun as well.
And it's kind of the story of the two top laners, right? Bin has been the strongest laning top laner that we have in the LPL. And when you look across 369, he's been absolutely absurd in these team fights. And kind of falls back to what JDG initially wanted with like Zoom all those years ago, where Zoom was supposed to be this big engage tool and play for these big team fights. 369 used to be that player, but has really stepped up massively since he left top eSports and joined JDG.
Has been the case. 369 able to crash this wave on the top side, and it's a tricky thing for BLG. I think they play a strategy that not a lot of teams do right now in the current meta. It feels like at the end of the day, all strategies put their resources bot lane. Whether you want to start mid lane or top lane or anywhere else, it doesn't matter, but all those resources end up in the bot lane eventually, and BLG are the one team that aren't always trying to go for that ultimately. And playing against the meta can be very powerful, but it can also, as you highlighted, put so much pressure on Bin. And in this case, with Nidalee coming through, Shun as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so far so good. I do like the position for JDG. I think that they have withstood a lot of this Nidalee pressure very, very well. Shun does have some farm advantage, but hasn't really been able to get involved in any sort of gank pressure. Is going to be able to get a Herald, but this is nothing you're concerned about so far for JDG. And as long as Ruler is just kind of chilling and farming on the Zeri, I think they're going to be feeling really good about their chances come teamfight time.
Certainly will. Shun, though, happy to have an uncontested objective. We've seen so many of the games decided around these early Herald fights, but this time around JDG not going to contest, and at this point don't really have the tools to do so. Knight still getting pressured out in lane here by the Nautilus, who we can assume is probably just going to rush a quick Abyssal Mask just to neutralize a lot of what Syndra can bring to the table in terms of a 1v1 threat. But across the board, only a 200 gold difference, 300 now in the favor of BLG. Where they use that Herald is going to be a big decider for the next few minutes of action.
And you can see again, Kanavi just right back towards bottom lane, just constantly hovering this matchup. He has seen that's where they're attacking.
Down big though, immediately the Thresh taken out. He cannot lantern himself. Well, he can't, just for a little shield. Ruler happy to grab that kill.
Oh, looked a little jank. That might have been a little bit of a, all right, well, we're going to hit this one regardless, but nicely done. And again, Kanavi, the one that's coming in on top when we actually get down towards this bottom side of the map. Yes, you got the initial kill on towards the Lulu and on, but now Ruler, he's getting himself into a position where he can actually, again, step up and match this Aphelios, especially when you come towards these earlier skirmishes.
Yep, just getting him paid is so important. And Kanavi knows all he's got to do, just cover this, neutralize what the Nidalee's going to be looking for. As long as he's protecting any vulnerable lane, he's really accomplishing his job. And you called it out earlier, Dagda, the kill that Knight got him that last chapter, has made the mid lane very uninteractive because he's just going to push waves and he's going to step back. He's not going to risk getting engaged on. So if Knight's not an option, really the only option is Ruler and Missing, and that's why we're seeing Kanavi playing around that so much.
Oh, connecting onto Missing, Elk looking for the angle here, can find the root, can find the lockdown. Should now going to try to follow up with the spear. It's big damage, but not quite able to follow. Should trying to finish the kill. He's going to grab one, another marked, another root. Not quite available yet. JDG will back away, but a quick pick onto the support.
I mean, the fact you get that auto attack from Elk to get the lockdown is great. Ruler does tank the spear in the hopes maybe he can get Missing out of dodge, but it's not going to be the case. And now, all that good work being undone, as BLG will even get the charge here and give those plates to Elk.
And I think they just really weren't expecting that because they knew that Shun was going to be over on the Dragon, but he peeled off the Dragon to actually look for the kill. So he lets the Dragon leash, he comes down, gets the kill on Missing, now going to be going back to it. That hook nearly connecting with Ruler there, but it still will be a BLG Dragon, so they get the Herald, they get the Dragon, they get a kill, stringing together at least some objectives here in the early game.
And I mean, when we got to see On initially coming in onto Suni, Yagao, no one saw that.
Lockdown there, fight split across. Bin now going in, going right back over the wall, denying the all-out kill pressure. Bin a bit more time to reset his cooldowns here. Does he win out now at this point in stage? Immediately going to ult get the extra resistances. 369 can't go over the wall. Just waiting, fishing for the pullback, flashing. Now out to safety. Bin coming out on top, getting the flash advantage.
Nicely done by Bin there to actually manage to get a Knight, though, on the roam up will be spotted. So shouldn't be too many issues here, although they are trying to push this wave in. Bin might have to leave here.
Bin having to be careful here, waiting for him to walk up, scatter the weak. Can they find the angle? Bin playing very patiently here.
And Knight has done a good job just kind of covering for his side lanes, right? It's the TP down towards bot side to make sure that Ruler couldn't get dove after his support got killed, to make sure he could actually collect that farm. Then it's a roam up towards top side to make sure that his top laner with no flash can actually cover there. And these can look like small things, but they're big plays. And you can see they had vision on the Dragon, so he doesn't expect On to be here, but On is there, finds the hook, gets the lantern in on Shun.
And this is the champion that On kind of made his name for when he first joined Suni, and as a big playmaker, right? Having to step in to fill the shoes of Sword Art, we've gone across NA, like, it was the Thresh where he was like, okay, I can really show what I'm capable of, getting all the fancy, like, flashes back to toss a lantern, to follow up on the hook, and you're starting to see a little bit of it here, catching it, Missing again here, making sure that he's able to, again, get more of this advantage for Elk, and Elk's going to be in a great spot, because when you look towards Yagao, right, we already talked about the Abyss of Mask, but a lot of JDG's damage is going to be AP focused, so
yeah.
Elk is going to have an easier time when it comes to towards these later team fights and just getting through a front line.
I mean, Zeri is a lot of mixed damage, you know, especially with that ultimate, you know, laser obviously magic damage as well. And there is going to be, you know, magic damage obviously coming through from jungle, from mid. Ksante does some physical, but not enough to threaten any tank. So it is going to be a Gao becoming very difficult to get through. And you do have the point and click ulti, you know, from that Nautilus that's going to be thrown down on Ruler basically every single time. The question is going to be, to me, can you actually get the follow-up after that, right? You're going to hit the Nautilus ultimate. Can the hook come through from the Thresh of the Nautilus? Can the Spear land? Can Bin be there, you know, to really capitalize on that afterwards? Because that is going to be, I think, really the tail of the tape here to see if they can actually knock down Ruler.
Definitely a tough task. We saw in the previous game how hard it was to take Ruler out of a fight. JDG certainly different tools this time around. No Maokai, not quite as simple to execute, but the Syndra can generate a lot of space for Ruler in the fight. Still working towards that first mythic item, however. Aphelios a bit ahead of the clock. Elk a bit ahead. We know how quickly you can take over if you can force fights around these objectives. And Kanavi again fishing for an angle. A cleanse coming out here. The lantern not quite working out. Ruler finding the kill on Elk. Bit of a caster curse there right as we're talking about it. Ruler finds the angle.
Really nicely done by Kanavi, and now Knight in the mid lane. Shun is trying to get here.
Knockback there. Hook now coming in. Spear connects. Knight's dead in the water. Bit of damage back, but a clean response from BLG.
Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. The second Yagao manages to get that ultimate down, you can easily finish off Knight. Luden's now completed, but it won't really make a difference as Bin just going to trade effectively on this top side. 369 needs to be very careful because potential dive could be there, but JDG off of reset might be able to shut this one down.
Shun in the jungle, looking to steal away the red buff, immediately going to walk away. Does not want to risk anything on the back of that one. But BLG responding well on the map.
But again, who would you rather have the kill on? Ruler or a Nidalee, right? And that is kind of the problem here, is that JDG always seem to be getting the gold where they want it. And yes, there is a gold advantage for the Nidalee, but look at the other side. It's just like I expected. It's going to be a Warmogs as the first item here for Kanavi, and he's going to be able to ignore any and all poke that you look for in these teams.
Another hook on. Not going to go over the wall. They don't want to risk it, but on definitely showing us he's at least incredibly accurate on the champion. It's a good point. I think the struggle now is it's just you got to make sure that you continue to leverage the Nidalee. It's the same story that we saw in the first game. Shouldn't you have a lead, you argue even have a better lead in the context of this game, but you have to leverage it. So far you've gotten one Herald, gotten one Drake, now looking for the second Herald, so at least objective control thus far. Yeah,
they are getting those objectives controlled, which is very nice. And Ruler getting a little bit aggressive here. But
a little bit over-aggressive. Oh, going in! Looking to finish the job, can't quite do it.
And that is what I love about
Another hook going forward. Al's just going to try to stack the shotguns, but they don't wholly want to go for the dive. Meanwhile, Ben already breaking up in top lane. They're grabbing Herald as well in the meantime. BLG, a massive play.
Grabbing Herald, grabbing mid, grabbing top, Dragon in 35 seconds. BLG were like, look, game 2 went a bit awry after we got a lead, but we're not going to let this game get away from us.
So what I love watching about Elk is just he is so consistent in how he plays the lanes and how he plays the fights, and he looks like this relatively safe player, and then he sees this window and he is instantly flashing in, he's instantly gale forcing on you, and he's not hesitating at all, which is exactly what you want to see from an elite level player.
Especially when you have something like the Thresh in the back pocket as well to try and keep you safe in that regard. You can see immediately Lantern comes down as well, can go for these aggressive plays, and look how much it bought them, right? You actually get the mid tower now. You still have this Herald if you wanted to try and commit towards the, sorry, you don't have the Herald, but you can still try and commit on towards like the tier 2 because you got that charge. And the fact now as well, you can create this long lane in mid that you can push up and start to lean in towards these objectives. At the moment though, JDG quicker off the bat will get in towards this Dragon first.
JDG had the initial shot at BLG, gonna walk through the pinch here. Ultra Shock Laser not gonna connect. Thresh, is he actually gonna Hex Flash over the wall? Dragon getting lower and lower. BLG not interested in the objective, instead potentially interested in the fight, but it's 369 on the backside, who might just look to isolate the carry. They're cutting through so quickly. Kanavi's health bar and Ben now looking to lock up 369, but Ruler still untouched. Ruler, the chain lightning starting to come through. He's just doing so much damage. The hook finally gonna land, but it's not gonna matter. The wild growth is there. The Zeri is just an inevitability. Ruler, an inevitability. How do they keep doing it? JDG, team fight monsters. Ben on the backside. Blinking health bars on Knight and missing. It is all eyes on Ben. If they ever needed Giga Ben, it is certainly now. Shun there as well. The two strong members of BLG corralling JDG, but they can't finish the fight.
It's just the same story every single time. JDG, no matter what happens in the early game, they show up for the objective, they take the 5v5, and Ruler goes crazy. You've got to question, though, Yagao using his ult on Knight instead of Ruler meant they didn't have any guaranteed lockdown for him. So the only time he was really threatened was when he stepped forward on to kill him, and he gets hooked, but he had cleanse ready for that. He knew it was going to happen.
And it's a bizarre choice, as you say, because, I mean, the DPS is just the Zeri. As long as you can take down the Zeri, there's just not enough follow-up, especially when you've got the likes of Bane who's going to be able to come in, and you'll see it here. Knight manages to step right the way back, not really under any threat as that ultimate comes through. Whereas Ruler's now great. I can immediately walk up into the face of Yagao, take down the Nautilus. He's not able to follow up. And this hook from On cleansed as soon as it comes through. And with Knight stunning Elk and Chun as soon as that lockup was onto Ruler, there's no follow-up. And now On has to flash away.
On running. No follow-up there. Ruler just going to try to finish the job here. Nice sidestep on the hook. Ruler still standing strong. On gets taken out. The TP now coming in. They want to keep the fight going. Keep your eyes on Elk. Snare, just the slow from the Aphelios, actually. Using the blue ult, not going to amount to a lot in terms of CC. Shun continuing to step forward. Ben looking for a little bit more. It's Yagao off on the side of the flank. 369 trying to make it out to safety. At least going to get the pull back onto 2. Knight over the wall, going to land some big damage. Ruler still untouched. Yagao going to land the hook, but the follow-up isn't quite there. Ben finally leaping in. They're trying to kill him, but they can't do it. Ruler, are you kidding me? JDG might just be the best damn team fighting team in the world.
He can't keep getting away with this. Ruler survives with no health. Skating backwards, finds the perfect angle again. 7-0-3. The man is gonna go godlike for the 3rd straight game.
This isn't fair. BLG are doing the things you're supposed to do. They're trying to get onto the people you're supposed to, but somehow, some way, JDG are fighting from a deficit and coming out on top. A 3,000 gold lead for them now as well. JDG game 3, they want to close out this series.
I just love the positioning here from Ruler. You know, the initial fight does look a little bit sketchy as Ruler, you know, just drifts right into the spear. He didn't see that coming over the wall, and you're thinking maybe, just maybe, he can actually make it happen. You can see the predict there on the hook from On was off, but then Ruler kites back, And I love how he actually kites back into this area, over by the wolf pit. You're gonna see him go right up in here, and watch how he actually just harasses people over the wall as they're coming up. He's just free firing on this line, getting so much chip damage down onto Shun. He goes down, getting Bin so incredibly low. So had he not done this, when Bin turns around and comes in, Ruler probably dies because Bin would have had enough health to actually get that final hit off. So it's all these little things that Ruler is doing earlier on in the fight that sets himself up for these magical moments where you just can't believe he can make it happen.
At what point are you more than just a meme? At what point are you like a force of nature? At what point do we canonize you? At what point do we just have to accept that you're like, you're built differently? Like what? And he's not like a young prodigy. He's just been doing this and he just continues to do it. Look at the damage.
That leads even more into the fact that he's a robot. You know, he's been doing it for this long.
He's a force, dude. He cannot be stopped. And for BLG and for honestly any team that has to go up against JDG, having an enemy carry that is this consistent in a meta that is about carries is a terrifying prospect.
I mean, it's very intimidating. You know, as you're an opponent, you look over during the team fight and Ruler starts hovering on the stage. You know,
just light and mist
coming out of his eyes.
Like, well, what are you gonna do?
But it also feels like it's just such a good meta, as you say, for JDG as a whole. Ruler, monstrous, Knight, loves his control mages and wants to kind of play this more. Styles like Ari and the Syndra and these kind of things that can actually work to help out someone like Ruler in your team. Even 369 being able to play these tanks, he was the first one that we really saw try and pilot the Sion.
Oh, pitching for the engage, but immediately they're going to deny it. That's Counter-Strike taken away from Bin. Ruler just stepping forward again, knowing all the CC is gone. He's going still! Oh. Ultra-Shock Laser not going to connect. A lot of Chakram stacked up for Elk, so they will back away. But Ruler far enough ahead now that he can just continue to walk up the power of this Whimsy, this duo, a terrifying threat. We haven't seen it have the same impact post-playoffs, but in this game, taking over.
This is the nerfed version. This is a version that's
How
been
many
cut down,
times?
which is why like Jinx and Aphelios kind of started to take over, but Ruler just kind of saying, yeah, that's cool, I'm going to do this anyway. Even with the Jinx banned, they didn't go for it. They were like, hey, look, we're willing to give the Aphelios, Zeri, Lulu, we're happy with this as well.
Now fishing for the angle, though. Again, Bin on the backside. Keep your eyes on Ruler. Ruler's the one that matters. 369, Bin unspotted as of yet. Will they be able to get onto him? Now they finally see the Jack. The fight's still going. The tanky front line is there. He brings him back into the waiting arms of Ruler. He's now legendary, hand delivered. The ulti from the Aphelios goes wide, but they jump into the backside and they take out the Lulu, but I don't think it matters because Ruler is still uncontested. Shun can't keep going, and Ruler stacking, looking for the angle. 369 with a pullback. He finds it immediately. Elk barely able to make it on Simpsy. It's Elk versus the world. Can he get this done? Shun with a poke damage will finally get cut down. Elk and on the bottom lane of BLG. The last two left standing. They have to try to get it done, but they don't have the damage. They don't have the power, and they certainly don't have Ruler. They're standing tall. They're going to take the dragon.
Questions were asked whether JDG were going to show up at MSI, and they have been silenced. JDG are a fighting machine, and they just won't stop.
It is truly incredible. It's an absolute masterclass here from JDG on how to team fight. Ruler is just looking like he is on an absolute other planet here. 9-0-6, 3 straight games. This man is dominating. And again, you know, Bin has this great angle, and you think maybe there's an opportunity to make something happen. But JDG collapsed immediately, bursting down Yagao so incredibly low. So even though Bin arrives, they're not really on the same page to be able to follow it up. 369 brings it back over the wall. They get that kill on Yagao. In goes Bin, but there's no one there to really follow up. There's no one there to really finish off the fight.
The engage in the pip, though. They're trying to go on towards the Thresh, not quite able to do so. But yeah, I mean, great follow-up here from JDG. And the fact, again, like where they chose to fight makes it so difficult for Elk to get into this fight. Like, yes, he's got the Calibrum, but he's taken a couple of pop shots every so often. Even his ult going wide, it made it so hard. And now JDG, they're on to Baron.
On to Baron. What feels like last chance for BLG as JDG get further and further ahead. It has been over the wall. It is Yagao in the pit. Can they make it work? 2K getting lower. A stun is going to be massive. The shutdown of the night could be the start of a perfect fight. Elk waiting over the wall. The Nidalee stealing it. Elk untouched. It is time for the Aphelios to shine, but it is Giga Bin in the back line finding a way to make it work. JDG overstep, and they will be punished. BLG come alive here in the third game.
Just like that, Giga Bin finds his moment. JDG overstep into the Baron pit, and BLG are happy as they are to collapse and pick up both the Baron and the teamfight win.
Yeah, Shun and Bin connect for a huge play there. The spear early onto Knight got him very low, and then it was Bin over the wall to finish Knight off before he could get the Zhonya's out because he was chunked down from that spear. And Shun gets in, steals the Baron. A 1K shutdown goes onto Bin from Ruler. He gets solo gold on tier 2 there as well. Bin probably has about 2.5, 3K in pocket off that play. Buys pretty much a full Zhonya's.
And we talked about it, jungle and top, the players that are playing things that we're not always excited to see that are a bit different from what we see from so many other teams. The focus on Bin showed with the Nidalee that didn't work in game 1, but finds the steal, Bin finds the angle on the fight, and that is exactly what you need if you're BLG, if you want to push us to a game 4, a game 5. Breathing a sigh as they finally have an advantage in the game. It is still hard to find this win. You still have to keep winning. You have to push this advantage, but it's a damn good start.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be difficult, but without that, you know, if JDG secure the Baron, this series is over. So it was a must-win fight there for BLG.
And at least now it gives the BLG an opportunity to actually push in these waves, get that last tower on bot side, and try and keep JDG in their base. Because as long as you can do that with the next Dragon in 2 minutes' time, you can actually make sure that JDG can't really contest you, slow down the pace, and give time for Bin to get some of these items, even give time for Elk to get to a point where he can be that massive late game carry.
And with this huge injection of gold into Bin, 1K shutdown, 600 from the top tier 2, the Baron gold, everything really combined, gets him his third item and also gets him closer to a Force of Nature, which is going to be so effective against this other team. He's going to be a menace in team fights because this is not going to be a Bin that you're going to be able to burst down. When he completes the Force of Nature with Merc Treads, with the Zhonyas, he can jump in with the Counter-Strike, land that. If you use a cleanse, he can just go into the stasis and he comes out. He's going to have his cooldowns back up and he's going to be very difficult to burst down while still really having a lot of threat on these carries.
Definitely a terrifying champion to play against in the late game. Elk locked up. They're going to force a quick cleanse out from him. Not going to burn anything else here. Elk still stepping forward, though. Has to be careful. Just gets pulled back and deleted. That is not a mistake you can afford to make. That kid is shocked. So are we.
What just happened? I literally blinked and Elk was gone. I didn't even catch it.
I mean, Ruler wasn't even there. It looked like he just got scooped in by 369, I think. You know, stepping forward for a little bit of tower damage, a little bit of poke, not respecting the possible engage coming through. Maybe thought he could just Gale Force it if there was something that was going to come and happen, but a pretty rare mistake of that kind from Elk.
I was about to say, like, getting the cleanse is huge. Getting a death is even bigger. Like, the fact you managed to finish him off, now JDG can kind of slow down the pace at what BLG were able to attain. Like, yes, they got the Baron, but they don't get any more towers off of just the initial fight, and now you've got control over the area of the Dragon for JDG.
Exactly, you lose all your tempo, right? You're not able to keep him pinned in for the full time. Really didn't get much of anything. Here it is one more time. So Knight had already been tagged by that spear. Bin finds a perfect angle over the wall. In goes Yagao's ult, and then just the instant shutdown. 850 gold shutdown from that. A 1K shutdown from the kill onto Ruler. The 300 from the Baron. The 600. The 600 from the tier 2. Bin made like 2.5K gold in this 1 or 2 minute play.
I mean, massive play, and again, when Zeri's pinned in the pit like that, she doesn't have the room to outmaneuver, to dance around these fights, and finding that stun, instantly taking one out, getting the ult on so many people, he was just unkillable. Hook landing is big, though. The Lulu already connected on Elk, trying to find the angle on the ultimate, but it won't work.
And again.
Bin on the backside. Has to be watched. The Counter-Strike, can he fish for it? Shun continuing to step forward. Both teams poking, prodding, fishing for an angle. The hook gonna land on the Kanavi. Not an ideal target. We are poised. We are on the cusp of a massive 5v5, but both sides right now just fishing for the angle. 369 continuing to poke. Spheres being laid down by Knight. Ready for the angle. Big sphere on the missing. Ruler continuing to try to find it. The ult's going to go in under Ruler. Bin going to try to isolate that target, but Kanavi there to body block. Kanavi there to keep the Jacks at bay. Ruler ready to fire back. 369 popping the Gargoyle Stone Plate. It's a slow, controlled fight from both sides. We're waiting for it to pop up. A massive hook on a Ruler. Now they're trying to find the angle. 369 to the backside. Ruler backing up. And again, they burned all their CC, and it means Ruler gets to run rampant. If you want to kill a god, you become a god, but they are not close. Ruler making it through the fight, tearing through again. All it took was a moment. All it took was a few cooldowns to fall away, and JDG take the fight.
The patience, the team fighting, it is incredible from JDG. They peel back, they keep Ruler safe, he finds his moment, and they are marching down mid lane. I think they're gonna look for the end. I think this one is potentially, wow, they're not gonna actually do it. There's 20-some seconds. I thought they were gonna at least try to push through, but with Bin up, they wanna guarantee the Dragon here, I guess. I thought they could have gone way more aggressive on that.
At least get an inhibitor or something out of it, you know, but want to go back towards the Dragon, and I mean, Chemtech Drake isn't exactly the strongest, so I'm surprised they don't just try to go for that instead, but look, either way, I mean, JDG, they come out trumps in that fight, and I want to keep an eye on towards the decision making here for 369 as well. Because what you look is Knight gets Shun, but 369 immediately goes, no, I know the Ruler needs help. Ruler is the key here. So instead of jumping onto Shun, actually puts frontline in front of Ruler that allows him to play this. And then once this cleanse and the CC is used, as you said, Azael, it's all day Ruler.
Yeah, I mean, Kanavi as well, right? Like, everything is perfectly timed from Ruler's teammates. It's easy to highlight Ruler, but when the Nautilus ultimate is thrown on Ruler, Bin's gonna get a follow-up. Nope, Kanavi interrupts Bin there. Then, when the cleanse is having to be used on the hook, in comes Bin for the counter-strike. Surely now is the time. Nope, missing actually knocks you up out of that jump with your ult, and now back to live.
Kanavi hooked up. Elk free firing for now, but it's just on the Sejuani. It's a slow extended fight. Kanavi about to get burned down here. They're looking to break through the tank line. They're going to find one. 369 needs to be careful now. Will they fish for the re-engage? Right now, a man advantage for the side of BLG, waiting on cooldowns. Waiting for another opportunity to push forward. Maybe going to threaten the Baron here. Big risk. Syndra waiting over the wall, but there's no jungler. There's no smite. Maybe they can get it done. The hook not quite going to connect. Missing getting lower and lower. These spears just continue to land. Shun making good on the commitment to Nidalee in the draft. That one going a bit wide. Ruler hooked up. Ruler able to make it out. A massive scatter. Ruler again just needs to continue free firing, but BLGC, they know that they need to back away. The ulti from Zeri is so key to the damage output, and now they see their opportunity to go in once again. The ult not going to be very effective. Ruler still untouched for now. 369 unkillable. Bin just desperate to get into the back line, but again, the knockbacks just keep coming. Ruler wants to keep dealing damage, and JDG are doing everything in their power to keep him safe.
4 seconds until Kanavi. BLG are trying to burn down the Baron because they know he's coming.
Over the wall. Again, the body block there to make sure that Ruler is untouched, but finally a hook's going to land. But no, again, the scatter. They just will not let Ruler drop. JDG so good at protecting the President. The President's about to rain hell onto the front line of BLG, but Elk ready now to fire back. Red and white, but they're still going to fight anyway. They don't give a damn. Ruler backed up by the team again, finding a way into the fight. JDG are just too damn good.
In a display of some of the best team fighting we have ever seen, JDG again will wipe BLG from the map in a 4v5. They support each other so incredibly well. Everyone peeling for the other. Whenever one of their teammates is in danger, someone is there to back them up time and time and time again. First it's the Mikhails, then it's the scatter, then it's a block from 369. It's just incredible to watch.
Man, I love casting the LPL. I miss this so much. This is absolutely insane. JDG popping off, Ruler looking insane, the peel for him, and now with that Baron in tow, you just get to put the foot down. You've only got the bot outer turret remaining. You can start to look towards this base, even as you look towards 2 minutes until that next dragon as well. That will be sold for JDG. They have so much control back in this game.
I mean, it's just so beautiful to watch how they are actually staggering cooldowns, how far forward they are playing on these plays. You know, it's just insane. The scatter there onto Bin, peeling for Ruler. Earlier, we had already seen, you know, Mikhail's used to get him out of one hook. He's stepping forward. 369 peels one off. They kill that guy. Then Yagao is stuck out here. They're going to kill him off. Ruler now finds his moment as another scatter lands to go aggressive on Elk. As soon as he's down, easy sidestep on the hook. In he goes again. And now JDG have had enough. They are trying to close this one out.
My God. Look at the jungle mid duo there. Knight as well, so much damage just protecting, but now they need to keep Ruler alive. Once again, the knockup is there. The chain CC finally coming in. Maybe they've finally taken Ruler out. They found the angle! They found the shutdown! I thought it was impossible, but finally they will break through the AD carry. Elk continuing to step forward. Can they keep the fight going? The hook now going in. Knight still standing for now. A double kill for Knight. Knight going golden. He's just too damn strong. He's a triple. He's 9-3. He's got the death cap. He does so much damage, but the Aphelios is there. It has been an Elk breaking through. JDG finding the angle, staying alive in game 3.
Every time we give it to JDG, they overstep and BLG pounce. Ruler gets caught, and just like that, we'll catch it here. The hook from Yagao sets it up. Shun is off to the side to get some of those spears down, and immediately he jumps in with Bin to finish off Ruler.
Yeah, just a massive hook there from Yagao, and you can see, watch Knight. He throws a scatter, Bin flashes past the scatter there. As Knight was just going crazy in this fight, so much damage at this point in the game. All abilities fully upgraded, has the death cap. He's a late game menace on the Syndra now. Had that scatter not been flashed, he might have been able to take it over. And there, Ruler knows he made a misstep on that one, got hooked, got chained up, and got burst down.
And now here we are. It's a 4K difference, but at this point in the game, I don't think it matters much. You can see Ruler got caught out, but Knight did his best to make up the difference.
My God. Yeah, and it's so hard now to actually even catch Ruler. Ruler has cleanse, there's a Mikhail's on missing, and Ruler has the QSS. So there's 3 different ways to break CC that you're gonna have to track the timing on all of these. It's so tough to take him down once, let alone again, as they're gonna have to do here.
Bin on the backside again, looking for an angle. Knockback there from the scatter. Kanavi continuing to step forward. Ruler untouched for now, still has the ultimate procs, continuing to step. Looking to break open the dragon, they get the dragon, they get the soul. That's a big start to the fight. Ruler still untouched on the backside, leaping forward to make sure that the Aphelios ult doesn't get to anyone else is Kanavi. 369 on the backside, getting cut down by Bin. Bin doing so much damage, but the Gargoyle Storm Plate is there to keep him alive and healthy. They find one missing, taken out of the equation, but they get the soul.
They need to reset though. There's minions in the base and they're on towards the Nexus turrets. Kanavi on a run, but how far can he make it? You see on, just trying to make sure that there's no blasting cones for him to try and escape away. Will be spotted now as another wave will go in. If they don't get onto that, they will take one of the Nexus turrets.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to get out of there. They can't keep chasing him. The empowered blast plant will keep him safe. But again, it is a nice hook from Yagao, pulling, missing in as he was about to blast plant out. They do get that, but the soul goes over to JDG. The main prize goes over to JDG. You look at mid, you look at bot. It is a combined 26 kills between Knight and Ruler. The shining stars, the big carries here for JDG.
It is starting to become an issue though with how big Bin is. You can see on the side of these fights, 369 was trying to mark him that whole time, make sure Bin couldn't get in, but he was slowly but surely winning these fights, and because JDG took it slow, tried to play for the dragon, Bin eventually won out in that 1v1, and that's where the line broke for JDG, and suddenly they had to run. So you need, as JDG, to take these fights decisively and not let Bin just slowly whittle down at your front line.
Absolutely, but that just gets even harder with Chemtech Soul. I mean, it's not the best soul, it's the worst, let's be honest, but the resistances and the increased damage are still gonna help in these fights where you have this much lifesteal over on Ruler. You get him low, he's gonna become more durable. You know, the Force of Nature is done. He has a Wit's End as well, so he's got a tremendous amount of magic resist. He is gonna be very, very tanky and still does a lot of damage. So, you know, Bin is going to be a menace, but if the fight is not played perfectly by him, Ruler's gonna kill everyone else before he can kill him.
So hard. A single misstep now from the side of BLG will end the series. For JDG, they can afford to lose a game, but they're so close to winning here. They're so close to clean sweeping. It was a 3-2 in round 4. It was a 3-1 in the finals, looking to make it a 3-0 on the MSI stage, continuing to improve in every time they've played, but BLG looking to change the script, looking to flip the narrative.
And you can see, you know, Kanavi didn't elect to go for the Warmogs that I was expecting. You know, he did just go for Mythic, but he went for a Knight's Vow even. So just really an additional supportive item here for Ruler, as the hook will land, but it is on 369, and you don't want that.
Knockback there. Knight going to be caught out and isolated. Sidestep coming through. 369 just getting
Kanavi's
cut
not
down.
with them.
Needs to flash out to safety. Small advantage to the side of BLG. Ruler just able to poke a bit.
That's massive though. Flash on top, flash on mid now for JDG. He's burned right as Baron is about to spawn. So, and you won't even have that up for the Elder Dragon fight either. So even though BLG do commit some resources, they actually get a huge amount out of JDG then.
Knight's flash could be crucial in the next fight. Ruler just going to grab a quick red buff. Have to full commit to him. Poke not going to do much. He just has so much lifesteal. On top of the Chemtech Soul. BLG getting mid-prio first, clean textbook stuff, but it's been again on the flank. Looks like he was spotted briefly. Don't have great vision of the wall, actually. I'm not sure if they can see him, but it's a similar story as they can't see into the pit, trying to burn through this Baron as quickly as possible, but the fight is going to be all that matters. 4K getting lower, desperate to finish this one. Nidalee over the wall, and again, the steal coming through! BLG trying to make the impossible possible. Elk on the backside, untouched. Green and white now trying to get out to safety, but he's pulled back into the middle of the team, and the AD carry is down, so it is all eyes on Bin. Polymorph missing, taken out. Bin needs to get everybody else if they want to win this one, but already the fight falling apart. Will Bin be enough? He's trying to finish off Ruler. Ruler's standing, and at the end of the day, Bin is strong, but he cannot take out JDG.
JDG find the win once more. It was so damn close, but the door is shut, and JDG will take the base.
And JDG reminding us why they are the best team in the LPL. They proved it against BLG once, they'll prove it a second time here. They will prove it a third, and now they can prove the opportunity to be the better than the best seed from the LCK as they will face T1 in the next round.
What an incredible series here from JDG. BLG definitely made him work for it, but the team fighting is just so incredible to watch from JDG. And to take them down, they're so clearly not an easy answer. This team looks so ridiculously strong across the board. They coordinate so well. They combine so well to enable Ruler, who is just playing out of this world.
But it doesn't even look like they need to communicate. It's just immediately on the same page. Everyone knows what their job is. Everyone knows exactly what they need to do. And as a result, Ruler just looks absolutely incredible. And this now is a team that is so terrifying. I mean, look, we obviously have T1 Gen G that look